Sir, we're approaching a podcast. It's part of the Legion Academy collective called Dice Time.
That's it. Bob Swim and Ben Jetron are there.
My lord, there are several Star Wars Legion podcasts. It could be any number.
That is the one. Admiral, set your course for Dice Time.
Hello everybody and welcome to Dice Time. I'm Ben Jetron, and with me is...
Paul Watson.
Hey, it's Paul. Paul, the unofficial co-host at this point. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing alright. I'm gonna have to start, taking over for Bob, and you're gonna have to, paint me into the logo or something.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have to work it in there. Probably have to get it recommissioned. That'll be fine. At this point, you're pretty much unofficial co-host of the show. So, congrats to you for that. Next time we'll have an award ceremony, I'm sure.
Oh, sweet. Do I get one of those big golden medallions?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly what I was thinking.
Yes.
So, today we've got a few fun little topics to talk about, but I'm gonna wait until we get to our sweet little studio that I've went ahead and purchased. So, Bob is unavailable at the moment because he's on vacation, spending some of the credits that we got from our last job. A foolish waste, if you ask me, because that leaves the rest of the money with me to make whatever decision I would like. He left a note that said, "Dear Ben, I sure would love one of those LAAT LEs to come back to. I would really appreciate it. You'll be my friend forever. Love, Bob." So I've decided to buy an AA5 speeder truck, and that is where the money has gone. And I have it waiting in Bay 34, right down the hallway here. And I brought Paul just for added security in case this is a setup, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna be good.
Let's go take a look.
All right, just punch in this code here, and voila! Ooh.
What
Oh,
a
wow.
piece of junk.
That didn't look like that in the hollows. Oh my gosh, this thing looks like it's been through 2 galactic civil wars. Oh my gosh.
You might want to try to get a refund.
I
think there's some mold over here.
don't think I can get a refund. That window's cracked. That door's crooked. Hang on, is that even gonna... Oh, well, okay, I guess it opens. Ugh. Not that I really wanted it to. It looks even worse on the inside. I thought it smelled bad on the outside.
I don't even think these computer terminals are connected, man.
Oh,
This has got a lot of work to do.
Oh man. All right. Well, are you cool hanging out here until as we do the show? I guess it's not as great and luxurious as I thought it was gonna be.
We can probably make do.
All right. Well, just gonna go ahead and take a seat in the driver's seat, and we'll go ahead and spin us a tale. So, it leans. Oh, I don't know if it's supposed to lean. Oh, well, I'll lean. So, the first topic I'd like to get to... Oh! Ow. Ooh. Ow.
I told you this thing was a piece of junk, man.
I'm okay. Alright, I guess I'm sitting in the other... I'll just stand. Okay. Well, the first topic I wanted to get to today was, Yavin Base Team League updates. We're now 2 rounds in as Team LAC-Luster. Just as a reminder, the Yavin Base Team League is a super fun online tournament that is run by the Legion community's own Endless, and has been going on for, I think this is the 5th season now, and where you bring in teams of 5 to go against other teams of 5 in a fun competitive bracket. There's a whole system of what makes it different from other tournaments besides that it's a team thing. And I'll probably revert you to the last episode if you want to hear more about that. But as an update, Team LAC-Luster, which is comprised of Captain Jace Pippin, myself, Paul Watson, Joe DePinto, and Sean Morris. We are currently 1 for 1 on our rounds, which puts us, I think, 2nd place in our bracket, or at least in our team pod. But we've been having a ton of fun. This is exceeded the amount of fun that I expected to have. And not to say that I didn't expect much fun. I expected to have a lot of fun, but I'm having more fun than I expected, Paul. I don't know about you.
No, definitely. I'm not a huge TTS player. And yeah, I definitely have to agree. I'm having a lot of fun with the Team League.
Yeah, so we did our first round, and we did our round against the team known as Mandal Motors, and we got paired up. We did our games. We can briefly touch on our games that we did. I played a Sabine, Leia, and triple Wookiee list with Vets and Mark IIs on the Coruscant map, which was super fun. My opponent played a Maul, B1 spam with triple staps, 11 activations, tac droid, very scary stuff. Also on Coruscant. We were playing key positions. My opponent, the illustrious Lord Dorn, which was the captain of Mandal Motors. We had one of the most fun TTS games I've ever had because he was just a joy to play with. We were both just like cracking jokes and having fun. I'm not sure of a more fun TTS game that I've had because he was just like he was a riot to just be playing alongside. And we streamed our game, and I'm pretty sure everyone was so annoyed with how annoying we were, but I loved it. We were making a whole narrative, which I love to do during the game, and it was just goofy as heck. Like the key positions were actually like 3 buildings. We decided that they were all bars. So the mission that we were doing was a bar run. There was like one of them was a Wookiee bar, and that's why one of my Wookiees was surrounding it. They were like the bouncers, and then Maul was like versing 2 units of Wookiees by himself, and he was I told him he was in the wrong. He took a wrong street, and he's in the wrong part of Coruscant, and Wookiees ended up beating him down and cutting him in half and tossing him down a shaft. I don't remember, but yeah, it was great. I had a super fun time. I ended up pulling the victory in that game. It came very close in the last round because a lot of B1s started marching toward the center very fast, but I ended up holding it. Paul, walk me through your round 1 game.
Yeah, my opponent, his handle on Discord is Trooper. We also had a really fun game. Neither one of us are big TTS players. I think I had played maybe a good handful of games on TTS, and he hadn't played many. And there were some glitches going on with TTS, so we were just very chill about everything when we were playing. Had a good game. I was playing a Padme, Saber Tank, Triple Bark, R2, 3PO, and a few Phase 1 troopers list. And then my opponent was playing, he actually had a Veers Krennic. He had some Royal Guard, a couple of dewbacks, some snipers, some naked troopers, and trying to think, I can't remember exactly what all was equipped on his troopers, but yeah, he had a kind of like an all-comers Empire list. And we were playing VAPS on the Jakku map. I think it's called Aftermath.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was interesting. I don't think he had played against too many characters with Exemplar. Not that there are very many right now. I caught
just
him
2,
out.
Right?
Yeah, yes, just 2.
Both in that faction.
Both in that faction. So he had not come across the standby sharing to a Saber Tank yet, and unfortunately one of his dewbacks got to, witness that firsthand, and went down pretty quick to a full barrage from the Saber Tank twice in a turn. So, yeah, the Barks and the Saber Tank did a lot of work early, and I just was able to get up in the first couple of rounds to where he was not going to be able to get back. I was able to essentially knock him off of one of his VAPs. He probably was going to kill everything that was towards my VAPs, but I don't know that he would have had enough time to get there. We didn't play the full game. He ended up conceding. I believe it was the end of turn 3, just because of the state of everything. But it was, like I said, had a lot of fun. Really good guy. Like, would definitely play with him again online. If you ever see him around, definitely hit him up for a game. He's a fun opponent to play against for sure.
Awesome. So we ended up going 4-1 against Mandal Motors. So we had 4 wins. Jace was the only one who didn't win. We kicked him out of our team as captain at the end of round 1, and then because none of us wanted to be captain at the start of round 2, we brought him back in, so he was captain again. So round 2 comes along, and we're playing, I believe they're called Only a Sniper Deals in Absolutes. And they were a lot more of a challenge. I did I think my game was second. I think I was the second game. But
yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so I'm playing... We kind of psych ourselves out on list building, and we end up making a lot of armor skew, or anti-armor skew. So I kind of leave the team to kind of tell me what I should do, because they're in this mindset that they want to play a lot of anti-armor stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, give me what that looks like, and I'll see what I can do. And they're like, okay, how would you feel about double ATST? And I'm just like, all right, I don't play Empire much at all, and I've never even fielded an ATST in my entire life playing Legion, so sure, let's do it. And they made me a Imperial officer, do 2 ATSTs with hammer pilot, twin laser cannons, and link targeting array, kitted up. Gotta say, I love that ATST. It's super fun. And kitted out properly, super nice. I love it. And then 3 stormtroopers with astromechs to heal them. 3 snipers. And I feel like there's something else. Oh, a Unionist nose. So it was 10 activations. And my opponent, the other illustrious Brambierke. I'm not going to get that right. He specifically made a name that would be funny to say and hard to say, so I'd look stupid. But his handle on Discord is Brambierke. I don't know. You're just going to have to find it. Anyway, he was a super fun opponent as well. We had a battle of the big brains in round 1. He was playing Iden 333, so I had to be aware that there was attack strike supposed to be coming in, and I was guessing with all the critical and stuff that they were going to be going for my walkers. We played on. I think I played on the Jakku map that you played on last round.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, it's the same one, and then we were playing Vaporators as well. So I set up Vaporators, and he sets up his, and I have an ATSD kind of watching each Vaporator on my side, and we deploy, he gets all his dudes, he deploys a lot of them pretty aggressively, but behind cover where they can't really see anything. Some of them have to go far back. And the way that he deploys, I'm just I don't think he's gonna play Tac Strike this turn, because I don't think it would be that optimal. I'm just it doesn't look like a super optimal Tac Strike to me, so maybe he won't do it on the first turn. Meanwhile, he's sitting here oh man, this guy's playing 2 ATSTs. He knows what he's doing. He knows what my list is. He knows he's played a bunch of games against it. He knows that I'm gonna attack strike turn 1, so I'm gonna big brain him, and I'm gonna play a different card turn 1, and then he's gonna waste pin down trying to counter my attack strike, and then I'm gonna get him. And so cards flip around, and I didn't play pin down, and he was like, "Oh, I've made a mistake. I basically overestimated you as a player and thought you were better than this." Well, I didn't say it quite like that, but this is essentially what he was getting at. And I was like, nope, I have no idea what I'm doing. And he was like, So you're unpredictable because I can't predict what you're doing because you don't even know what you're doing. And I was like, now you've got it. It's too late, but now you've got it. So the rest of the game was a lot of fun dice pools of like full nine boat hits going in from ATSTs, pretty much deleting units left and right. I pretty much wiped out a mortar and an ISF like turn 1. Took a lot of his units down, took a lot of his offensive firepower down pretty early. So I played pin down turn 2 because I thought he's already lost one of his ISF. If he hopes to get any strength out of Tactical Strike, he's going to have to play it like this turn. But he didn't play it turn 2, so then I weakened another ISF and started whittling down a lot of his forces. So by the time turn 3, when he did play Tac Strike rolled around, it was a very suboptimal Tac Strike, which is kind of the gimmick of that list. So the gimmick it had did not deliver. I did have a lot of ATST fire, or it was a lot of fire at one of my ATSTs. The other one I don't think took a single shot the entire game. It pretty much just stayed on a hill and was healthy and good. So all my stormtroopers with Astromechs had to run over and keep the thing healed, and I kept it going as long as I could. And finally, there was one shot where it had 4 wounds left after being healed everything on all my Astromechs, fully tapped. It had 4 wounds left. And my opponent did a shot that was four wounds. And I was like, okay, well, here we go. And rolled all 4 white dice. And I got paint on all of them. And I freaked out. Because that was like that was the craziest roll for me that whole game. Not even all the awesome hot sniper dice I rolled early on. It was like, I hadn't rolled any saves on that ATST pretty much all game, which white dice, whatever. But I rolled all 4 of them in that last shot. I felt so bad for him because the game was already kind of leaning in my favor by that point. But at the same time, it felt so good just to like 4 paint on white dice when I surge on defense. I was like, oh, that's so good, but so bad for you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was definitely the turning point for that one.
Yeah,
that was more like the nail in the coffin, really.
Yeah, and then he gave up on the walker. That was, I think, the last attack that got shot at the walker. Which, if that happened to me, I would do the same thing. I would be like, all right, I just have to pretend that I killed this thing and move on with what I was gonna do next. Otherwise, I'm gonna dump all my firepower into this thing, and I might not even kill it. But yeah. That was also a really fun game, so I ended up pulling the victory on that one as well, due to kill points. Actually, well, no, not even that. He conceded at the end of turn 5 because he was like, "You're just gonna have to really misplay turn 6 to get it for me to win." So yeah.
You both had your VAPs like where they needed to be on your side, but he hadn't killed any activations off of your side of the board, and you had killed quite a few of his.
Yeah. So I because at time of recording we have not done round 3 yet. Round 3 is matched made and going to be happening this next week, but as of when upload should be, we are just currently 2 rounds deep, and I am currently 2-0, which is very surprisingly the best record on our team, which I
was gonna say
I still don't believe. I still don't believe that, man.
Says the person who says you guys have to carry me from the beginning, and you're the only one who's won both of your games.
I was like, I'm on a team with these I know they're great players. I'm like, I've seen Jace play on Friday Night Fights. I know Joe DePinto's record. Joe DePinto, Paul Watson, Sean Morris have all gone to Worlds. I don't know if Jace has gone. Has Jace gone to Worlds?
I don't think he's gone yet.
Okay, well, he will.
But he's gotten really far in Invader Leagues, right?
Yeah, and I've seen him play in Invader League too. That was the other thing. And it's just like, I feel like the lowest rung on the ladder, when like before round 1 started, I'm like, I feel like the lowest rung on this ladder. I kind of feel like I got shoehorned in on a team of really good competitive players, and I'm just kind of here. So hopefully they just carry me. And then I've won both of my games, and everyone else is 1-1, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, no, you've been playing really well. So.
I'm still having trouble believing it, but okay. I'm still placing myself as the bottom rung. This is all circumstance. It's luck. I don't know. No, I can't ever say that it's just luck because that just downplays my opponents because they play extremely well. Both my opponents played really well. Paul, do you want to talk about your round 2 game?
I'd rather not, but no.
Oh no.
So I mean, like you said, the team that we played in the second round have a lot. They also have a lot of competitive players, right?
They're number 1 in our team pod right now. That's
yeah. I think they went 5-0 in their first round,
Yeah,
and then they went 3-2, obviously in the second round because we won 2 of their games. So, and I will say though, like all of our games were real close, except for maybe Joe's. Joe had a rough time.
Yeah. Joe did
it,
not have a dice time.
No, Joe did not have a dice time. Neither did I. But I also made some mistakes too. So my game, I ended up playing a guy. His name is Richie, and his handle on Discord is Cowboy Tyrone. If people have played him or seen him around on TTS playing, he's been playing a lot of triple Wookiee lists lately. And he's actually a guy who's local in my scene, so we play each other all the time. He actually comes over to my house sometimes, and we'll throw down and play a game. And so we had to, go to a galaxy far, far away on TTS to play each other, even though we could have just gone to one another's homes or met up at the game store and played. So we got to play a game online. It's like the only person on their team that I didn't really want to play, because no matter what tournament we go to, no matter how far we travel, we always end up playing each other. It's just like, that's just the way it is, right? So our team banned Wookiees on purpose because we knew he was on this team, and we just wanted to make him play something else, right? Because he's been playing that triple Wookiee list for a long time and is quite good with it. So he ended up playing, it was a droid list with an AAT, 6 B1s, 4 had the E5C, and then 2 with just a repair droid, and then he had 2 BX commandos with Sab, and then the new generic commander. I haven't played droids enough to remember all their names.
Fair enough.
But so he was playing that. I was playing a Commander Luke, Lando.
Because we banned up Luke.
Yep, we banned up Luke. So Luke, Lando. I had an land speeder, excuse me. Triple rotary RTs, and then just some core units to fill out the rest of it there. And we played, and I'm trying to remember, we played on the wintry map.
Starkiller Base.
Starkiller Base, yes, thank you.
Yep.
We play on Starkiller Base. I actually really like that map. It has good line of sight blocking, but then it has a lot of area terrain, but the area terrain also isn't difficult for your troopers to move through. So it's a really interesting map. There's a lot of light cover around, but not preventing you from moving around on the board. I enjoyed it. I played Luke like I have never played Luke in my life, and Luke is probably the commander that I've probably played the most between Commander Luke and Op Luke. Like, I've played plenty of Luke Skywalker, and I played him like I never, first time Luke player, and got him killed in the big first action of the second round. I think it wasn't first action, it was like middle of second round, but just left him out in the open like a dummy. So I was down essentially 200 points, by the middle of the second round, right? And then was just like clawing my way back through. We were playing hostage. The other conditions weren't really important. Rapid. We did Rapid. That was the other one that he put his BX droids down in commando droids and in the Rapid. But I got Luke killed early, and so then I was it was interesting because I was chasing the game point wise, but I had gotten myself in a position where my hostage was like already at my board edge,
Mm-hmm.
and his hostage was stuck towards the middle of the board. And between my land speeder and an RT that I had ran up to the like middle of the board, I was able to sit there and like shoot and kick and like run over his units so much that they couldn't get anywhere. Like I would kill the guy, like kill the unit so they would drop it before they could get anywhere with it. And then
Right.
the next unit would have to like double move, and so it couldn't even like pick it up till the following turn.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time I had whittled it down a little bit, so we would pick it up with like a half
Half a
strength.
squad.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
would end up kicking them with the RT and like making him drop it again. And so I was doing a really good job keeping him from holding on to his hostage, but I just didn't have enough like bodies on my end either, because he still had his AAT that was just shooting full boat shots into like a naked trooper squad or like
Yeah.
an astromech trooper squad, so it's just like they're dying. But it ended up being a very close game. We played it, even though I was down and was losing stuff, by round 3 I knew that the game was getting very out of hand for me. And it just got compounded by some dice rolls, like my land speeder rolling the 2 white for the built-in gun, 2 white for the rifle gunner, and then the 4 black from the Mark II on it, 8 dice into his TAC droid commander that only had 1 life left, roll 8 dice and only hit with 1
Yep.
out of all of that. Like, and then of course he just blocks it.
Yep.
And
Dang.
so his TAC droid lived for 3 rounds when he probably should have been dead the first one that I shot him with. So that was where my dice just were not being cooperative with me either. But even with all that said, we played it to the end. He definitely had, like, he had almost killed my entire army, but it came down to a dice roll. It came down to, could his BX droids do enough damage to Lando, and Lando was at half health, and I think with uncanny luck, I think he took, like, if he could have saved 1 more damage, I actually would have won the game, because I was able to, Lando was holding my hostage, and I had gotten to the point where my land speeder had split fired into his 2 B1 units that were close to the objective, and then did my compulsory move and landed on both of them, giving them another suppression, and they were not in range of the BX droids that he had made his commander after I killed this commander, and so they both actually panicked. They either panicked or they only got the 1 action.
Mm-hmm.
No, they both panicked because droids aren't affected by the action. That's right.
Right. Yeah.
So they both ended up panicking and not being able to pick up the hostage. So we ended the game. My hostage was on the ground and his hostage was on the ground. So it was
And then
a
he won on
0-0
points.
tie, but he won on points.
Dang.
So just a couple of dice rolls, ended up being the game, even though, I played very poorly at the beginning.
But those are the best games of Legion that come down to like a dice roll at the end.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, people might argue that it's like, man, we might as well just done this in the beginning and not played the game. But I'm just like, no, like that just shows that you two are like really, really good players when it comes down to that at the end.
Yeah, like, and it was so much fun. The RT that I had in the middle of the board had actually been damaged right away at the beginning of the game, and I rolled the weapon damage, so the rotary cannon was damaged from the beginning.
Yikes.
Which he was super excited about. Well, I healed that RT a little bit before it ran up to the middle, but then that RT literally just spent the entire game moving and trampling over something to give it a suppression, and then kicking people with the 3 red dice.
my gosh.
So
That's
it
so
was
good.
like, it was so fun just to have that RT like backing up over droids. It's like every time the droids would pick something up, like the RT would march over them and kick them. It was a lot of fun.
So good.
We had a lot of good laughs. our games are usually pretty close. I actually got Richie into the game and taught him how to play, and he got good very quickly.
The circle is now complete.
Yep, and so our games are always real close. So we have some good times playing games and getting competitive with it. And he got the better of me this time. I think the past couple times we've met, I've gotten the better of him. So it was probably about my time, right? So I'm sure we'll run into them again, and then he will feel
I'm sure.
wrath.
Sooner than we think.
Yeah, probably.
All right. Well, so we've had a blast in Yavin Base Team League so far. Like a lot of us, but Paul and I have been talking about several times that we're just so in love with the team-based gameplay and format, not so much because of how it works in a game, but the atmosphere that you have on being on a team and all the camaraderie between all the teammates and talking about each other's games and I think Joe either said it or made me realize it, but he was talking about when one of us wins, we all win. So
Right.
There's less feel bad. You would have at a tournament where if you win, it's yay, you won, and you're happy, and if you lose, it's you feel bad. But on a team of 5 people, you're going for 3 wins. If you lose, that sucks. But you might end up winning that round because your teammates win. So You're
Right.
cheering on your teammates, and it's there's a whole atmosphere and a whole audience who are all watching your game, who are all excited for one team or the other, and they're all rooting for you, And it's
Absolutely.
just and we're loving the team-based gameplay going on with that dynamic.
Yeah, no, definitely. I really enjoy that piece. It's even this last round, as a team we lost, but for instance, your game, I got to watch all of your game. It was so much fun to watch your game and to see you do well with a list that you've never played, with units you've never played before, and so that kind of stuff is just so much fun to be a part of, and I'm definitely interested. I know our team has been talking a lot about how to incorporate this into some real life tournaments or events or things like that. So I'm definitely excited for that prospect, being able to do something like that in person. Now 5 people is quite a bit for a team, but
for real life.
Yeah, for
real life team tournaments are harder to do, but we have some ideas in the works. We might be able to finalize something at some point soon and talk about it, but we'll leave it as it is right now as we further develop it.
Yeah, absolutely. Stay tuned for that.
Oh yeah. Don't touch that dial. Unless, of course, you're flipping that dial over to our other favorite channel, the Legion Academy. Wait a minute, that's the channel that this is on. So never mind, don't touch that dial. Legion Academy is back. I was gonna say is back. No, they're still going. Friday Night Fights is back.
Yes.
That's the news.
Actually going on here in a few minutes while we're recording, right?
Yeah, as of time of recording, it should be going live soon. As of time of when this uploads, it already happened. Go back and watch it if you haven't. Cause
yeah, it was fantastic.
It was fantastic.
Jace only knocked over half of the terrain this time.
Well, we got a photo of Sean setting up the table, and he was just check it out, and it was 5 pieces of terrain. There was nothing there, and we were just wow, it sucks.
It's so fair.
I'm sure I'll have to see the table here in a few minutes and see what it looks like. But yeah, I'm super excited to get back into it. I have other stuff I have to do tonight. Otherwise, I would love to go on and co-host and stuff. Hopefully I can next week. I would love. I really miss chiming in and doing Friday Night Fights. It was really fun. So yeah, I'm really glad that's back.
Yeah, hopefully we can. It can continue, and Canada can keep COVID under control enough that they can continue to meet and play and have Friday night fights, because yes, I agree, it's a lot of fun. I think a lot of people enjoy, jumping in chat together while it's all going on, and talking to each other. And
It's the team dynamic again.
yeah, absolutely.
Actually, yeah, that's kind of what it is. Except nobody's got personal stakes in their own benefit of winning or losing, but
Right.
it's Friday night. You have the fun of it anyway. Otherwise, go check out their regular live shows. They're normally on Wednesdays, give or take 1 or 2 days for international shipping. But we always have a good time. We occasionally jump in, but they're also talking about Team League. So, I mean, if you listen to one, you're listening to the other. You're probably getting double the Team League exposure. So, you're just hearing it from all angles. So, other than that, Paul, I have 2 other small announcements to make. That'll be mini topics before we get into our last topic. One of which is we're going to pull another name for the cursed Luke Skywalker contest and hope that we can finally get a winner.
I feel like the last time I was on, you had announced a winner that also was not the first time.
Yeah.
And they also didn't pick up their prize, huh?
I think this is our 3rd or 4th. Yeah. I'm kind of upset. I literally can't even give Luke away.
Well, I hope those people are okay.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope I didn't just do a death note or something where everyone I drew from a name, something terrible happened to them and they couldn't respond. But all right. Well, let's go ahead and here's the bowl with pieces of paper that have names on them, and I'll just draw one out here. Ha! And it is Jamie Muth. You are the winner of exclusive Luke Skywalker, I hope.
Congratulations. Hopefully that's not a real curse, because I actually know Jamie. I would hate for something bad to happen to him.
I was going to say, that would suck. So go ahead and shoot me a message, Jamie, and we'll get you all hooked up with Luke. I usually see him pretty active on, I think, Legion Academy's thing. I think that's where I know him from. I don't know. I'll have to remember. But
yep.
I know I've seen the name before. And not just from this contest. But anyway. Oh wait, no, I think I've seen him in the chats on
yeah,
I
think he's usually on the chats and the shows. He's pretty active.
Okay. Well, anyway, congratulations. Hope you're listening, so you know that you won. And just message me, and we'll get you all hooked up with Luke. And I hope I don't have to say that again next month to someone else. All right. That aside, the other announcement I'd like to make is Bob and I are going to be throwing an event, not in Muncie, that hopefully the rest of you would like to go to. It's a little convention that a lot of people are sleeping on this year because they've decided it's not worth it, called Gen Con. And I tell you what, any year that Gen Con's going to be hosting something in person, I'm going, because I've just had such a blast in the past that it's just too good to pass. Did I perfectly triple rhyme?
Is it rhyming when you just use the same word?
No, I didn't though. Past and pass. Oh man, I'm so good. Anyway.
Oh gosh.
All right. Anyway, the event is going to be run through Bob, a friend of Bob's. He ran it last year. It was basically just I think it's like a store or something, or a friend of his that runs a Legion event that he did last year. I don't remember the exact story now, so I'll have to get more details on that. And he's not here to give them, of course, because he's off prancing about in the galaxy somewhere. But anyway, the event is going to be on Friday. If anyone wants to still show, I know that Fantasy Flight canceled and Atomic Mass canceled, and Paizo's not going to be there. Trying to think who. I think Modifus already backed out too. So I mean, there's a bunch of people that aren't going to be there. And we get that. But let me pose this for you. If you're still considering Gen Con, or you kind of wrote it off, but I can still change your mind, hear this out. My girlfriend is also on some of the active pages where people, just talk about Gen Con in general. And everyone's saying that this is going to be the year for small companies and the indie developers of board game world, basically. So there's a lot of small companies that like haven't been discovered yet, or that haven't really taken off as big as, the big name companies, that this is going to be their year to shine. And I'm excited for that. That sounds like a blast to me. I'm going to go through the vendor hall and I'm going to see faces and names that I've never seen before, because there are people that are posting like, oh, this is going to be the year where I get a booth. And then, like, I've seen a bunch of people that are talking about like, this is the year where they're finally going to take off, and they're launching they're launching their line of products. So this is going to be like brand new. I'm going to feel like I'm walking through an alternate dimension, where all these board game companies already took off somewhere else because they're all at Gen Con with their booths and everything, and everyone who all the big names who we do have just aren't there. So it'll be super weird and super awesome, and I'm loving it. I'm excited for it. Plus, there's Legion on Friday. If you want to at least come for a day, come on Friday and check out Legion. Come hang out with Bob and I. We'll find some stuff to give you. I'm trying to get more alt art cards printed, because we finally run dry on our first run of the alt art Rex that we had of Bob's artwork. And we've actually got 3 more cards in the chute that I'm trying to finish. I want to finish them in time so we can get them all printed, and I would love to give them out at the event for just anybody who shows up. So
yeah, that'd be really cool. I have one of the Rexes, and
yep.
I really like it.
I think I've got one more to give that I can give out. Besides, I'm also sending one to our contest winner, whoever it may be. Better be Jamie. Third or fourth time's the charm. I'm also going to send one of those out. But then I think after that I only have like one more to give out before we need to print another run. But yeah, I'm working on 3 more alt arts. That'll be fun business. I hope it's going to be. I hope we have a dice time on the Friday of Gen Con, and I hope everyone's there to see it and have fun with us. If you don't want to play in the event, or I don't know how the tickets and stuff's going to shake out yet, because I don't have all the details, because I don't even think they have all the details ironed out yet. But we know that Friday will be the day where Legion will be at Gen Con. So come on out if you're still considering it. Come say hi, or play some Legion. Do whatever you want. It's going to be great. All right, Paul. Final topic of the day, and we'll try to keep it relatively brief because we both have places to be. But let's talk about, as I look around here and I see what this AA5 has the space for, I've got to point out that despite all the rust and the mold and the missing panels and whatever that is, and all the parts that I were told were here that aren't here, and the gunshots, then the burns, and the acid damage, and the loose wire. Okay, aside from all this, I think there's a lot of potential here, and I think this is pretty good. So, I know that the AA5 has recently come out. I bought mine. No, obviously I bought mine, but I bought my model one, and it's currently about in the same state as this one is, where it's unpainted and untouched, and you're kind of wondering why. And the reason is because I have a lot of LED work that I have to do, and I'm intimidated to start it, but I'm going to get there because I am so excited to pimp out my truck. But as for somebody who's already got theirs assembled and painted, which I've seen plenty of, well done to you. Props to you. I have not seen a bad AA5 on the page yet. They all look beautiful. But Paul, when you actually slap it down on the table, there comes a question. There's a stack of cards that come with this expansion box.
Oh, yeah.
What cards should you be using for what? What kind of loadouts should we be seeing in AA5s? And how many of those cards should you just throw away? No, I'm just kidding. No blanket statements.
Actually, I don't think any of these cards should be thrown away.
I agree, actually. I think they all have a good place. But so if you were slapping an AA5 on the table tomorrow, what does it look like?
Oh my gosh, that's such a tough question.
Well, make it situational for the list that you would play tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's a lot of different things you can do with this thing. I mean, it comes at a fairly cheap price point to start at 75 points. That's not bad for an 8 health armor vehicle.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Especially on something on a big base like the Gav tank. It's quite large. And there's so many good upgrade cards here. And while there are some upgrade cards that you're probably just not going to run on the AA5, there are other upgrades that are just going to be so good that I don't know that you take an AA5 without them. But it's so hard to choose because they're limited to the slots in there. So like,
Right.
which ones do you take and which ones do you leave at home? I know that there's people in my local group who are all excited to throw Wookiee Warriors in there and just use that truck as a Wookiee Warrior delivery system.
Mhm.
And they're taking that reckless driver so that way they can run over stuff on top of the Wookiees jumping out and cutting you up. That you have the medic in there. I mean, so good just for the points. 12 points to have, essentially a wound removal every turn for the entire game.
Mhm.
It takes an action, yes, but seems pretty worth it to be able to heal that much. That unorthodox tactician too, just passing out the potential to pass out all those aims.
Mhm.
That's the slot. The people that you can put inside of your truck, the crew slots. Yeah, those are the hard ones because those two are really good that I already mentioned, the medic and the tactician. But then you have stuff like I think the refurbished Gonk droid is one of the best upgrades for that slot.
I agree.
That refurbished Gonk droid just giving you shielded 2 for 10 points. The way I kind of look at it is it essentially makes your first 2 saves red saves, like for that AA5, because every turn you get to roll 2 red dice, and on blocks you get to get an inactive shield token back.
Yeah, I mean, and then the unstable R5 astromech with the one-time use, perform an attack or a move, and then roll 3 black dice and suffer 1 wound for each hit and crit result. I'm just like, that extra attack or move could be huge because you threaten your opponent with that, with the threat of that you can do that for 6 points, which is super amazing. I love it. I feel like there's not a bad card you can take in the crew. Anything you put in crew is going to make the thing double the points you're putting into it as far as that upgrade.
Absolutely.
Like, I would almost pay twice the cost of whatever these upgrades are.
And I honestly, I think those slots are always going to be filled in the AA5. I don't think you have to put a gun on it.
Nope.
I don't think the guns are bad. They might be a little pricey for what you want on them, but they're not bad. So I could see you running without a weapon, but I can't see you running with no crew.
I agree.
They're just too good to pass up. And for the price points are really low too, in my mind, for what they do.
Yeah. There's also 3 new pilots that this expansion brought us.
Absolutely.
We have another Wookiee, as the Outer Rim speeder jockey is a Wookiee. Now we also have the hotshot pilot Wookiee, who is a rebel only, repulsor vehicle only, and just gains sharpshooter 1, which is awesome. I think that's
absolutely
great. It's super great.
And again, it's just repulsor vehicle. It's not just the A5.
The land speeder or the air speeder.
Yep, absolutely.
Super good.
Both would benefit from that, right?
Oh yeah.
Same thing with the refurbished Gonk and the unstable astromech. Like, those guys can also go in the land speeder. So again, really increasing the value of that land speeder.
And then we got Shriv, my boy Shriv, who's a field commander, the first field commander for Rebels at 10 points, and a free action to choose a friendly trooper unit that you're transporting or a range 1 to 2, and it gains a dodge token, and it may gain a suppression token, because some Rebels like that.
Yeah, it's so good, his ability, and it's just a free action every turn. Doesn't exhaust when you use it. It's a really solid field commander for 10 points.
And then the best one, the Reckless Driver. 6 points. Activate, perform a compulse move. You can't reverse. And the first time you displace an enemy unit, roll a white die for each mini in the unit, and they suffer a wound for each block. Super fun.
I was just gonna say that just seems super fun to me, right?
It is.
You just take your big truck and you run people over with it.
So I think the first time I run this truck, I want to put either Wookiees or fleets in it. I want to have the other unit right behind them, using it as cover as best I can. And then I want to put in the Reckless Driver, the Refurbished Gonk Droid. Those two for sure, because those two are my favorite upgrades on this thing for sure.
Yeah.
And then optionally, the two things I'm considering are, depending on my command hand, I might put an onboard comms channel in for 3 points.
Yep.
Just basically giving an order to the truck. You also give an order to what's inside, which seems super good. I love the control of both what's in the truck and the truck itself is very critical. And then, at least to my playstyle. And then I'm also considering the heavy laser retrofit, actually, mainly because the other gun is too many points for me. At 36 points, I'm just going to buy 4 more rebels.
That's true.
And it's not an overwhelmingly amazing dice pool because I don't think the AA5 surges to hit. It does not. So it's not. It's very much just a 50. No, not even a 50-50. I don't think. It's just like a.
Yeah, it's like 50-50 on black. Yep.
Oh yeah, surge, yeah. You're right. It is. So yeah, it's just a 50-50 on black, which not super awesome when you're gambling that much. So, and it's just too much. So I mean,
20 points less. You take the heavy laser.
And the only reason I'm considering the heavy laser is because even with my Reckless Driver, when I move, I'm gonna get him to my opponent's line on turn 2.
Easy.
Because you're gonna triple move turn 1, or you might just double move or something. I don't know.
You might be able to, you get the compulsory and move and be right there in your opponent's deployment.
Right. And you're gonna get there turn 2. Now here's the thing: you can't reverse or anything, and unless you want to spend the whole game only doing moves just to try and reposition yourself to displace your opponent, I feel like there's going to be some dead turns where you're just not going to be able to do a move that'll get you there, or that you need to sit for a spot, that you might just be able to take a free out of cover shot.
Yeah.
With a gun. And I think the other gun is too expensive and doesn't have the proper potential it could. Whereas the heavy laser retrofit, I feel like I'm at least going to get a shot or two.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that the great thing about the weapons is we've seen a lot of weapons so far on heavies that are fixed front. And these are not
unfixed.
Yeah, it's just on that rotating turret on top of the truck. So it just gives a lot of versatility for when you do want to take that weapon and take those shots at whatever you need to.
Not gonna lie, I do want to see, nobody's talking about it, but I would love to see people play with Wedge, or even more so, Ryder Azadi as the pilot in this thing.
And bump it up to speed 2 move.
And do a speed 2 with the speeder truck.
Be so great. It'd be such
so
a
hilarious.
Big move.
I know.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I think if I had to pick, if I was gonna run this tomorrow,
yep,
I'm gonna put the Reckless Driver as my pilot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put the refurbished Gonk Droid for the shields, and I'm probably putting the Unorthodox Tactician for those
really
aims. Yeah, the thing that's the best about it, I think, and something I didn't realize until I played against it, was that it's at the start of the activation phase. It's not at the start of its activation. So the AA5 doesn't even have to go to pass out those aims.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's really good to get some free aims on some other things early in the round, and then your truck just sits there. I kind of view this truck, to me, I haven't seen anybody paint theirs like this, but I'm shamelessly stealing from a guy in Chicago that I saw do his fleets up like a SWAT team. He even gave one of them a riot shield and stuff, and so I'm definitely gonna do that on mine. And to me, this AA5 is the SWAT van. It is the mobile command center. So you got this Unorthodox Tactician, passing out aims to the rest of your army. You got your little SWAT team of what I say fleet troopers,
Yeah, right.
In your van to get dropped off, and that's such a big dice. I mean, those units, that's what you want when this truck, right?
Yeah.
You want to get those units that you had a hard time getting in and getting value out of in safely, and putting them behind an 8 health armored vehicle keeps them safe for a long time. And even if the vehicle blows up, you only take 1 wound. So if you have a 6-man squad, you're dropping off a 5-man squad.
An extra guy, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you
7 points, right? Like, who cares?
Yeah, right. It's funny that you mention like custom fleet troopers, because I actually recently bought the other 2 fleets that I needed in order to do my skirmish list, where I have like 4 fleets, and I've decided one of the fleets I'm dedicatedly going to paint to be my AA5 fleet troopers.
Nice.
Like in case I field them in the bus or next to it, because if in case nobody's heard, I'm making a party bus. It's going to be great. There's LEDs, there's music. It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait.
So appropriately, I needed some like very fly looking fleet troopers who are going to go in here. So they're going to have like purple shirts with white vests and white jackets.
Yes.
And like khaki pants. And I did a lot of green stuff work on my leader. So I adjusted his arm that's like up in the air, like doing the hold or like whatever pose. And I cut off like his thumb, his wrist, his elbow, and I modeled him a new thumb. I readjusted everything so he looks like he's holding something else that I green stuffed, some sunglasses to his eyes. So he's got some shades on now.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see
I gotta
your
prime
bus.
that and paint it just to see how it looks, because the green stuff is a little deceiving, and I don't know if I made his arm in proper proportion, but it's Legion, whatever. 3 feet away, it'll look great. So, I'm very excited to get that. I'm debating if I want to do their helmets white with, like, instead of the black, if I want to do it gold. I'm still debating.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm thinking about it, because I know there's gonna be gold trim on their armor somewhere here and there. But yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun. So we both actually already played a game against an AA5 as well. Do you want to talk about your game that you played with an AA5, and I'll talk about mine, and then we can go ahead and wrap up?
Yeah. So I played a game against Richie, the guy that I talked about earlier that we just got done playing. Yeah.
Welcome back to the show. You've been gone for 20 minutes.
I invited him over to my house the day after I lost to him on TTS and gave him a thorough thrashing in our game, where he played an AA5 speeder truck, and I actually played a clone list that had 2 lats and triple barks in it.
So we got lat experience too.
Yeah, so here's what I will say. The list that I was running had a lot of anti-armor in it.
Sure.
Both of the lats had the armor-piercing shells, 2 of my barks had rocket launchers, and 1 of my Phase 1 clone troopers had a rocket launcher. I will say that even with all the anti-armor that I had, with that gonk droid in there, and, the 8 health, it still took me a full turn of anti-armor shots into that truck
to take it down.
Plus I had to get the jump on the first turn, and I fire supported my rocket troopers into my rocket bark to do the last 3 wounds to it.
Fun.
So it still took a lot of effort to take down. And at the end of that, I really hadn't killed anything. You know what I mean? Yes, it was 100 points off the table, but he didn't have anything inside of it. He was just using it to block all his troopers that were behind it.
Oh, you didn't even transport anything in it.
No.
Oh, interesting.
He was just using it more as a mobile wall. He had a very a gun line rebel force, essentially.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it was an interesting list. So what I want to say is, all of those upgrades that come in that AA5, as much as I had to focus on that AA5, one thing that happened in that game, and one of the things I think is really strong with one of these upgrades, is that unstable astromech. He actually also had a land speeder that had the rocket launcher, the unstable astromech, and the ion gun on the front of it. And he was
Ooh.
actually able to use the unstable astromech on turn 1 and double tap one of my lats. So it had 2
Ooh.
ion before it could even go.
Oh,
So I
that's
had
so cool.
yeah, he did 5 wounds to it and 2 ion. So
Oh.
I essentially just wrote off that lat for the first turn. I said, well, that lat's gonna sit there. I'm just gonna eat that ion. Because you did 5 damage to it, I need to use R2 to repair it so it'll stay alive rather than get any like use out of it this turn. So I was able to kill the AA5, but then I still had this land speeder that was messing with me, and he rolled for that unstable astromech and didn't roll any damage.
Ah. Jeez.
So he got a free shot for nothing, for the price of nothing. Not that it mattered too much because R2 was riding in the land speeder to repair it. So yeah, it's just that there's some really good upgrades in there. It definitely makes the AA5 truck worth getting due to just all the other stuff that you get in there as well. And the fact that I don't know how many people know this, but there's 2 copies of a lot of cards in there. So by buying the AA5 truck, you get 2 copies of like the Outer Rim Speeder Jockey, the Hotshot Pilot, the refurbished Gonk Droid, the Unstable Astromech. So you get 2 copies of all of those. So you can run the AA5, and then you can also put some of those upgrades in either one of your air speeders that you have, you know, with one of those pilots, like the new Hotshot Pilot if you want, or you can deck out a land speeder in a different way than you normally would with some of these, you know, droids and stuff. There's some really interesting things that you can do. Again, like Shriv too, as some of the pilots, like Shriv doesn't have to be in the AA5. He can be in any heavy. So that's really good for rebels. I mean, you're essentially putting a field commander in any of your heavy units that you want. Instead of having to take a commander, which
Shriv's,
you know,
Shriv's probably my pilot for any other vehicle besides the AA5, probably.
Yeah, I don't think he goes in the AA5 too often. Unless it's your only heavy that you're bringing for some reason. I really like Shriv in a land speeder. I think he's really good with that because the land speeders also can, you know, carry a person in it. I really like putting Luke in the land speeder, and Shriv really helps Luke out by giving him a dodge token.
Yeah.
So
it's great.
Yeah, it's so there's a lot of really good upgrades in there. The AA5 I think is really good in general, but I think that a lot of those upgrades are also going to be really good in, you know, the land speeder, some of those pilots in the air speeder. So yeah, a lot of good stuff in there. So what happened in your game?
Well, before I get to that, I want to jump in something real quick that I didn't jump in earlier on the upgrades. I wanted to talk about because I think I've talked about it before, but I just wanted to point it out again. I'm absolutely loving, and I want to see them do more of this. I want this to be more of the faction identity that Rebels has. All these cards that are really gambly. So Lando was like the first kind of view we got on that. I mean, not even if we go back, it's like uncanny luck with Han, but in like danger sense and stuff. But like really, the stuff with Lando's command cards and some of the stuff that he does is very gimmicky and very gambly because you're rolling dice to see the outcomes of stuff.
It could backfire on you.
Right, it can backfire on you. It can pay off for you big time, but it can also backfire on you, and I love that stuff. The Gonk droid, you roll the red dice at the end phase to see if you even get shields back or if you don't.
Yeah, there's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee, and
like
then
everything else gets it on either they recharge naturally or when you recover or
And then this one's like, oh, it might, you know.
Yep.
And then the astromech, you might just do wounds to yourself when you do that attack because you have to roll the dice and see. And it's like stuff like that. It feels so Rebel.
Oh yeah,
and it also is so much fun. At least I love all the gamble mechanics in Legion. All the stuff where it's just like, well, this could either be really great or really bad. Let's find out. Because that's just like, that's what you do when you roll a die. And this is like the extreme version of it. Because
Yeah,
now it's going to do a great effect or a bad effect, and it's all like, and it's so thematically perfect because that's what the rebels are doing all the time is they're throwing their lives on the line, and they're kind of just hoping that the Force lets them win.
oh yeah, absolutely. And there's two more. Like this truck is full of them because you got the unorthodox tactician that you roll dice to see if you get aims.
Yeah,
Like you could just blank out and get nothing. You just spent 10 points for an upgrade that does nothing. You know. And even the medic. The medic's really good. You spend that action to heal, but then you're also rolling dice to see how much suppression they get.
right.
Like on
Right.
that. So if you did it into like your core, you're just your rebel troopers at courage 1, and you roll those 2 white dice, and you get paint. It's like, oh man, now they have 2 suppression, and they're not going to be able to probably take 2 actions like I want them to.
Exactly. Right.
So yeah, I agree with you. I really like the gambling. I really like the the thought of some of it just not working as intended, right? You got the refurbished gonk droid that sometimes is going to work great for you, and other times you're going to be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, help me out here.
This piece of junk.
Yeah, and like you said, that's very rebel. I
Yeah.
like that.
Exactly. I love it thematically. God, the AA5 is just a big slot machine now that I'm looking at it. Now that I'm looking at all the upgrades that gamble on it. It's just a
and
rolling casino.
even the driver, the reckless driver, right? You roll a bunch of white dice to see if you kill
Yeah.
anything when you run them over. Like,
every
it's
single
just
thing.
tons of gambling.
I mean, the quad laser is just a crap shit. Well, that wasn't as intended, but anyway.
Yeah, no, I think that's fun. Like, it makes me want to run an AA5 just with all the gambling mechanics. You got the driver, like you got, like the gonk droid, or even, the gonk droid. Like I said, the gonk droid tactician, or you do like the tactician medic. So it's just like every turn you're just doing all of this stuff and just hoping you get something good out of it.
It's so good. There was one upgrade I wanted to put on an AA5 that I didn't talk about on my Reckless Driver Gonk Droid build. Super cheap. 5 points. Amazing upgrade. I would love to use it. Comms Jammer.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
that Reckless Driver is meant to be in your opponent's line. So why not just make their lives even worse so they can't even issue orders to each other?
And how big is that base? Like,
Yeah.
It's so huge.
Range 1 of that base, it's kind of your whole line. So have fun.
Yeah, a droid player is just gonna cry when
Yeah.
you come at them with that pilot and a comms jammer.
Yeah.
It's like, no, my battle droid line.
They all have to attack the AA5 and it has full armor.
And I get to roll 6 or 7 or 8 dice every time I run over one of your units.
Well, just the first time.
Right. No, that's every turn.
But yeah, like 6 times hopefully. Well, 5 or 6 hopefully in a game.
Yeah, and against droids, it's just that you have that many more chances to kill something, right?
And even against droids, against any army, if you kill one model, that it makes its points back.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
Because Reckless Driver's
what is it,
6
points?
Yeah,
like
that's like the cost of a battle droid.
Yep, one
So
battle
you
droid.
kill
is 6
literally
points.
any model in any army, in any faction, in any unit, and you made your points back and more.
And again, it gives you a compulsory move, so it gives you an extra move. So, like, if you had something like if you do have the medic in there and you want to be healing, well, guess what? Now that Reckless Driver gives you that extra action, quote unquote, with the with that free move that you can now sacrifice that action for the medic if you want to. So yeah, there's some fun stuff with it for sure.
The only sad part about that is not being able to reverse. Because that would be super easy to just go forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. I've had it done to me with the Gav tank.
The thing is there is you can do reposition, which helps a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
So you get that free pivot, before or after a standard move.
Yeah, which
so that's
is going to help a lot.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and the thing that's interesting about, I mean, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but the way it reads here on the Reckless Driver is you don't get the choice like you would
a normal
with
compulsory
other
move.
compulsory to do it at the beginning or the end. This reads like you have to do it right away.
At the beginning, yep.
Yeah.
Before you do your 2 actions. Because, that the old compulsory move. The ways of old.
Yes, absolutely. But I
Anyway,
think,
go
with
ahead.
that reckless driver, you still have, even if you have to do the compulsory move and you can't reverse, you could compulsory move, do a pivot, 50 to or whatever, a quarter of the way around, and then you could reposition again and then move right back to where you were, right?
Yep.
So it's not that bad, and then you still have an action if you have a gun on there or something that you want to shoot.
Yep.
So I think pretty much you can just stay where you want to.
Can you take a standby in the AA5?
Yes, you can, because it's a hover ground vehicle.
Because it's hover ground.
Yep.
Woof.
So you could do a standby. Well, let's see.
I don't know. I know it's in a weird territory because it's hover ground, but it's also. Oh wait, no, you can reverse and standby. It's just straight on the card. Never mind. Whoops.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
stop being stupid, guys. I promise.
I was looking at the reckless driver because I was wondering if you could stand by and get to run over guys again, but it says the first time during your
it's only the first
activation
time.
that
But if you're in such a position where you do 2 moves, and then your opponent would go right there, but they're not there yet, and you need them to get into your range, you could take that standby, and then whenever they move into your range, then you can do it. Because you're not going to lose that standby, because you have to take suppression to lose the standby.
Right. Or just set yourself up for next turn when you compulsory back into where you want to be, or there's a lot of cool options with it for sure.
So anyway, my game against it was probably a lot different than what some people expected. I actually played a game against an AA5 in skirmish.
Ooh.
So my opponent, who last time I went to Muncie, was the day after the AA5 came out, and my opponent, I believe it was Will, had he's a local, had his AA5 assembled, not painted, not even glued. I think it was dry fit together, which you can do. And it was all good to go. I think some of it was glued and some of it was not. But I was just gawking at it because it was the first AA5 that I'd ever seen in person. So I was asking him a million questions at the start of our game. I was just like, oh, man, how was this? How was it? Because I've been so excited for the truck to come out. So I've been I'm asking all these questions oh, what size is this? Oh, what are the dimensions on this? Oh, how was this to put together? How many pieces are this in? How's the doors? That. So I did a lot of that, and he was just patiently answering all my questions while we were supposed to be playing. And I was like, okay. And then we got to playing. That month I had played my classic Han and Chewie and friends in skirmish, which is Han Solo, Chewbacca, a unit of Wookiee warriors, a unit of fleet troopers, and then 2 units of rebels. And they didn't have that bad a time taking down the AA5. Now, granted, my opponent made a small miscalculation when he brought his list to the table. I saw an AA5, I saw the generic rebel officer, 2 units of Z6 rebels, and 2 units of Tauntauns. And I went, I have no idea what he's going to put in the truck. Is he going to put a Z6? I guess he's going to put a Z6 unit in the truck. Because, he had the reckless driver and the gonk droid and the quad laser.
Okay.
Equipped on it. He also had so he had the quad laser on the A5 as well. So I was like, all right. So he's got a big gun on that too. So awesome. Can't wait. And as I look through, as we're deploying, he looks at me and he's like, so the Tauntauns can go in the AA5, right? And I've just about lost my marbles. I was like, no. I was like, no, they can't because they're creature troopers. Creature troopers can't embark or disembark. But I was freaking out because I was like, man, can you imagine the destructive power of a Tauntaun that got to make it safely to its objective through an AA5? Ooh. I mean, and then we looked at the models and we were like, in all honesty, in real life, these 2 Tauntauns could both fit in the AA5, if they crouched down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were looking at it, we were like, man. And he was, sorry. And he was talking about it, he was like, they ought to change it so that we can, embark and disembark creature troopers. I'm like, I agree, but to a point. Because, a dewback on the back of a Gav seems cool, but also very silly. Tauntauns running out of the back of your AA5 sound awesome, but also seems silly. So I don't know.
I will
Maybe
say that the
maybe some
AA5
shenanigans.
is big enough to hide a tauntaun on the other side of it. So
That's true, and
you
he
can
didn't
still
end up
use
doing
it.
that.
You
Yeah,
can
and he
still
did
use it
that.
to bring your tauntauns up. So
So he did. So after that, he ended up. He was like, "Well, all right," and he ended up putting a Z6 unit in there because what else was he gonna do? So he put a Z6 unit in there, and the truck came right down the board, and I had everybody shooting at it as best I can. Well, not everybody. I had a lot of people repositioning on turn one, but like Han was getting to cover. Chewie was just up on height one terrain, and he was just taking pot shots with the bowcaster, and he actually did 3 damage to the AA5 in my opening volley, or he would have. He did on his second shot. He ended up taking out the shields, and then or someone took out the shields, and then I think Chewie shot and did like 3 wounds. I remember that was a huge opening for me. Was like Chewie with the impact and like his surge to crit and everything. He just like opened up with 3 wounds on the AA5 in turn 1, and I was like, wow, that's a big start for me. And then going into turn 2, he dropped his rebels off and then drove forward, ran over my rebels, and I think killed a guy. And I was like, yeah, my first reckless driver death. I received it, but I got to see it, and that's cool. So I was all excited to see this AA5 like lighting everything up and shooting the quad laser. The quad laser did not perform as well as he had hoped, which is about what I expected from it. I was telling him earlier, I was like, I kind of feel like the thing's overcosted, and he's like, I feel it's pretty powerful dice pool. And then like as the game went on, he was kind of more in the line of, yeah, it didn't quite perform the way I was hoping, so maybe I will swap it out for something else. So if we have a Rebel ROG, we might, or points update at some point before the end of the year. The quad laser might come down a couple points. I don't know, but it might be right where they want it. So I don't know. But yeah, then it was basically a team effort of, because that he had to do that compulse move. He ended up getting in a weird angle where the front was facing Chewie and Han, but he wasn't going to be able to run over them because of how they were on terrain. And then and I had a unit of Z6 rebels back behind the truck because of how he positioned it. So they were getting that rear arc impact too. And between the Z6 rebels, Han and Chewie, all shooting at this thing with all their might, I think I had the thing killed by the end of turn 2 or the start of turn 3. So yeah, the thing, if you have anti-armor in it, like Paul said that it took him quite a bit, but if you have anti-armor in it, like, and dice shake out, it's white dice, it's white surge dice. So I mean, it's not like it's gonna save every time. And if you have if you can shoot at it with pierce, like Han was just piercing it, so it's like that's even easier.
yeah.
But you can and he didn't get any shields back on his roll at the end of turn 1.
It just feels bad there.
Yeah, so it just feels bad, and then I just kind of gunfired the rest of it down into the ground. So yeah. So I mean, I took it. I feel like I took it out pretty easily. I still had to pump a bunch of dice into it, obviously, and commit a lot of units to it, especially in skirmish. That thing was on my board edge on turn 2.
Oh yeah.
Like, because it's a shorter board. Well, I mean, I guess it's not shorter if you're going like battle lines, but it would be like long march. So
right.
But that thing can go from long edge to long edge, like in 2 turn, and like be there at turn 2.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
and I think the other
be
thing
aware of the threat range of that truck.
Oh yeah, it's huge for sure. I think the thing too to keep in mind is that I didn't play against, my opponent did not have a bunch of repair in here in his list, but Rebels have access to the cheapest like repair unit, and it's not hard for them to throw it in there, and then it's protected like behind that big wall of the AA5. They just run up and heal. So if you can't do quite a bit of damage to it, it could sit around for a while. And if all of a sudden that Gonk droid gets multiple turns of getting shields back, it's like that 8 health turns into, 16 to 20 really quick.
Yeah. If you don't have any other targets for the AA5, like for carrying, if you're not running any Wookiees or fleets or Jedi that you want to transport, you can always take R2, and while he can't heal you while he's in it, He can always hop out and heal it, or you can wait until the thing's really low, or you're near the secret mission or something, and he can hop out and heal, and then go for secret mission or something like that. Or you can just run him kind of like alongside. Or you can put him in a land speeder.
Yep.
And run the land speeder next to the truck.
That's what I actually, when I'm building Rebel List right now, don't get me wrong, I have 2 LATs and 2 AA5s like in the boxes, like sitting here ready to go to put together.
Yep.
I'm excited to put them together and play with them and stuff. But I definitely think the list that I'm building for Rebels right now don't have 2 AA5s. They have 1 AA5 and 1 land speeder, usually with R2 in that co-pilot seat. So he can run around and heal stuff, being in that
It's just
land
such
speeder.
it's just such fun. The AA5 just offers so much fun for Rebel lists right now of all different kinds.
Yeah, and I think the land speeder is a good support unit, both for supporting with firepower and bringing some other characters like R2 along that can help that AA5 do that little bit more, and can easily easily keep up with it with that reckless driver compulsory move and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good upgrades, a lot of fun lists to try.
Yeah. I know Joe's really high on the LAAT, so it's only fair that you and I are high on the AA5.
I'm high on the LATs too. There's a lot of fun stuff with them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I enjoyed running the double LAT triple bark clone list. It was pretty cool because essentially half of my trooper units were protected in LATs the entire game until I wanted them to come out. And so, it just forced my opponent to shoot at my vehicles, which is, one of the things that you want. You'd rather have your vehicles taking wounds rather than your trooper units. So, and that's the same thing the AA5 does. The AA5 helps, put wounds on a vehicle that you're like, yeah, if it dies, I mean, yeah, it's good. But if it dies, all my units that are doing things are still there.
Doing things, right.
Yeah. So, yeah. Very cool. I'm excited to see what people come up with.
Yeah. Any other closing thoughts on the AA5 or anything else we talked about, Paul?
I'm super stoked to see all the paint jobs that people are doing. I've seen the A-Team bus. I've seen the old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle van.
Yeah.
And
that one was awesome.
There's so much stuff that I've seen the bright green ambulance.
Yeah, I saw the ambulance. I saw the taxi, the school bus.
Yep. Yeah, there's some really fun stuff. People are doing a lot of cool things. Like I said, I think I might paint one of mine up as a SWAT. Command.
And you should Orabesh SWAT or Spec Ops or something on the side. Yeah.
My fleet troopers, I'm going to write SWAT in Arabesh on their that back little plate that they have that little rectangle on the back of their jackets or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's so perfect.
Yep. Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah. So I definitely think I'm gonna do that with one of mine and make a little SWAT truck for my fleet troopers.
So good. All right. Well, oof. All right. That smell's getting strong, so I think we probably ought to wrap up, or at least get out of here. I'm stepping outside.
Yeah, I agree. I'm getting a little woozy.
All right. Oof. Okay. Well, she's not gonna be the fastest paint job done for sure. We're definitely seeing a lot of awesome hot paint jobs done right now. But when she's done, I'd like to think that she's gonna be pretty amazing. I'd like to think she's gonna be the showstopper.
Well, we're definitely gonna have to send some droids to clean this thing up first because it needs some work.
That might have to be one of the names I give this bus, is the showstopper. I just came up with that on the fly, and I kind of like it. Anyway, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Thanks everybody for listening. I hope we have more fun with Team League to bring you more updates, and I hope everyone's enjoying. If you're on a team or if you're just following your favorite players or a team right now, I hope you're having fun with all the excitement that's going on with that. I hope we get to see you at Gen Con. I would love to meet some of you guys out at Gen Con or just see some familiar faces I haven't seen in a bit. because of COVID and all this stuff going on that we haven't been able to meet. I would love to see everybody there, or as many people as we can. And then I can't wait to see more speeder trucks, Paul. It's just I can't wait to see more of everything that we talked about today.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what people come up with here.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Paul. Thanks for having me up once again. And I hope everybody has a dice time doing all the things that we just mentioned and that we talked about today. Go out and make today even better, y'all.